they can kill people.
Okay, well, I want to read to y'all because I just want to present all sides.
Of course.
And y'all
Of course.
I'm going to read y'all what Willie D had to say because, I mean, I enjoy Willie D.
Southern man.
I absolutely love Willie D.
My brother. Shout out to Willie D.
Willie D says, I know some of you are about to be tight over what I'm about to say, but I'll take my chances. See, Willie D is brave and it already. He jumping out there, but that's what fuck with him.
Yeah.
I don't have a dog in the fight, but using Cassie's youth as a blanket excuse for the choices she made during her decade-long relationship with Diddy is problematic because it removes the necessary element of accountability, without which no one learns or grows. Diddy and Cassie is a cautionary tale for men who use their money and power to abuse others. On the flip side, it tells young women who will come after Cassie, no matter what you get yourself into and who gets hurt, as long as you are young, you won't be held accountable. By her own admission, she stayed not out of fear, but because she didn't want another woman to take her place. Cassie is not some helpless victim. She is a savvy home-wrecking opportunist who left Ryan Leslie for Diddy, knowing he was with Kim Porter, simply to upgrade her lifestyle, turning both Kim and Ryan into collateral damage. And let's not forget the kids. In court, she testified that she enjoyed the freak-offs, just not as often as Diddy did. She ultimately left him for the trainer he paid for, tried to blackmail him for $30 million, and when that failed, sued him and walked away with $20 million. Now that she's the prosecution star witness trying to bury him, yes, Diddy was abusive and should have been punished for it. But let's not pretend Cassie didn't cash in after every black. No, I don't feel comfortable saying that. I don't feel comfortable reading the last slide of that.
Some of that I kind of get the gist of, but I think the main thing that's important is that Cassie's not on trial.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
And I think he's wrong about all of that. I think we have to start from there, right? Cassie's not on trial.
And also the term home wrecker, I'm just like, why does the onus always put on the woman?
There's so many things, and I love Willie D, but I have to disagree with him on a few of those things. One, I don't think holding people accountable for the harm they cause means that the victims don't have accountability. Two, is just not the point. If I were to, you got that very expensive chain on, and if you were to walk through a really terrible neighborhood at 3 a.m. unarmed by yourself with that chain on, you might get robbed.
I know not to do it.
You know, right? But when you get robbed, yeah, I would say to you, you made some bad choices, but that doesn't negate the fact that the person who you should be able to do that.
About Mark, you actually helping. I've been quiet on this, but you actually helping the other side. You don't even see it.
I agree with that.
You're really helping the other side because what I know I shouldn't be out in the hood at 3 a.m. with my chains on.
But why? Because there's predators there.
But here's the problem. No, but here's the problem. Here's the real issue. The real issue is how.
No, but don't lose that point.
Okay,
right?
no, I'm about to tell you. I'm about to answer that. The way men see the world and the way women see the world, right? So the way men see the world, if you're my woman, I'm gonna be like, yo, babe, don't wear that because I know how men are. Now you'll say that's not how men's supposed to be. They shouldn't be that way. But men are smart enough to know that that's not the way the world works. Just because you wear I should be able to wear my chain everywhere, but I'm smart enough to know where the wolves are. Right, so my thing is when you lay with wolves, you almost got to know you laying with a wolf.
So hold on. But to your point, what if you didn't know that?
Right, and that's part of where the 19.
Well, you didn't know
in.
what?
Yeah,
and that's part
to not wear your chain there. There's more. What if you didn't grow up anywhere near the hood? Don't know nothing about being robbed, robbery, nothing like that. But you watched TV and saw a chain and got a chain.
Yep.
And now you wearing it somewhere where somebody with some street sense would know not to wear that there, but you don't know because you're not from there, never been there.
And when we see him,
because you're young and inexperienced in that life.
And guess what happens? Usually somebody says, "Yo, you know where you at? Put that chain away." You know.
Or you know what else they say? Let me get that chain up.
That's my point. Exactly. You're right. That's right too.
Those are chances.
But at the end of the day, the point is you should live in the ideal world isn't one where you hide from the predators, it's one where there aren't predators. And in this case, I just feel like, again, I might, if Cassie were my sister, my mom might be like, yo, that's a bad situation to get into. All true. But at the end of the day, the question is, did he do harm? But and the second thing, and I want you to jump in, I just want to just finish this thought real quick. The second thing, though, to me is that doesn't necessarily mean that the legal standard for the crime in this case was met, right? Because
that's my only concern.
Which I agree. So that's where it comes down to trusting Cassie's word or Diddy's. But what I don't want us to do is to believe that because someone came back home, because someone didn't run at the first sight, because someone enjoyed a freak off, that means necessarily that they weren't being captive. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't mean they were.
But how though?
The example that I gave, that Mel gave, is that lots of people who are victims of things end up developing a psychological condition where they stay. Again, children get kidnapped. They get brought to a whole new city. They know they have other parents. And if the kidnapper stays with them long enough, they can send them to the store and the kid will come back.
That's true.
Enslaved people will literally leave a plantation and then go back. They won't be afraid to leave. Yeah. Doesn't mean slavery wasn't bad.
That's true.
So all I'm saying is I'm not saying that we know everything that happened in Cassie and Diddy's house. I'm just saying that I wouldn't assume that because she stayed a long time, that's proof that Diddy didn't do it.
Mark, real quick, you just stated that Cassie is not on trial here, right? That's what you said. But on the flip hand is that the stuff that Diddy is being accused of, the stuff that he's on trial for does not fit the circumstances right now and what's being said.
That's my only problem.
That's
why I'm saying Cassie's not on trial. Like,
he's not on trial for being a manipulator, for taking advantage. He's on trial for trafficking and whatever the other two are.
But here's the problem.
Y'all, if I'm looking from Puff's POV, y'all are saying I trafficked my girl.
Who I'm supposed to take care of.
This is my girlfriend. Y'all, and I know that it's easy to paint Puff as the monster. He's done a great job of it himself. But nobody is that 100% of the time. Part of his manipulation and bullshit is the charm and all of that goes along with. So what do you do when Puff's attorney is saying there were times where he was fully functional on the drugs and you kept going?
To be clear,
let me finish. What do you do when the Puff's attorney is saying, hey, there were times when Puff was urging you that we can't freak off. You have a role that you have to get ready for. We can't do this. And you were the person that continued and urged this to go on. Like, it's not just the picture that y'all are painting. And again, it falls on which side you believe. Do you believe that he was trapping Cassie? And again, I think that they're going to get him with the next few.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're breaking down what's happening with music icon Sean, Diddy, Combs and the serious legal case that's been getting a lot of attention. There's been a lot of talk about possible charges under something called the RICO Act, and today we're going to explain what that means, what's going on, and why there's actually a possibility that Diddy could come out of this without being found responsible for any wrongdoing. First, let's break it down. The RICO Act, short for the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, is a law that allows federal authorities to take a broader look at whether a person was part of a larger pattern of illegal behavior. It was originally created to go after organized crime, but in recent years, it's been used in cases involving celebrities, business owners, and public figures when prosecutors think there's a long-term pattern of questionable activity. Now, here's the thing. Being under investigation under RICO doesn't mean someone is guilty. It just means there are questions being asked and evidence being gathered. In Diddy's case, reports say federal agencies are looking into his business relationships and personal dealings. But until there's a formal charge and a trial, we're still firmly in the investigation stage. So how could Diddy beat this case? For starters, RICO cases are very hard to prove. Prosecutors have to show that not only was someone involved in wrongdoing, but that they were part of a coordinated effort over time. That means showing a clear pattern, a connection between people, and that each person knowingly played a role. Diddy's legal team is likely to argue that he ran his business above board, and that any individuals who may have acted improperly did so without his approval or knowledge. They may also point out that speculation in the media does not equal evidence in court. And don't forget, Diddy has built a long career, not just in music, but also in fashion, spirits, and philanthropy. His defense could include a detailed record of his business operations, emphasizing his legitimate accomplishments and the fact that he's never been convicted of anything serious.